Let's take a look at what it means for a function to have local extrema. First, let's look at what it means to have a local maximum. The definition states that a function f has a local maximum at c if there is an open interval I containing c such that I is contained in the domain of f and f of c is greater than or equal to f of x for all x values in I. Next, let's take a look at the definition for local minimums. The definition states that a function f has a local minimum at c if there exists an open interval I containing c such that I is contained in the domain of f and f of c is less than or equal to f of x for all x values in I. So if a function has either a local maximum or local minimum, that function has what is called a local extremum. If a function has an absolute maximum at a value c, then the local maximum is equal to the absolute maximum. The same is true for absolute and local minimums. Let's start by tracing the graph from left to right. As you can see, the graph falls to a low point at x equals negative 4, then rises to a high point at x equals negative 2, falls to a low point at x equals negative 1, and then rises at an increasing rate going through the bounds of the graph. So, points of interest for us are x equals negative 4, x equals negative 2, and x equals negative 1. The first low point at x equals negative 4 has an approximate y value of negative 5.25. Since it is clear that within the bounds of the graph this is the lowest point of the graphed function, we have an absolute minimum at x equals negative 4. The second low point at x equals negative 1 has an approximate y value of negative 3. Since we already found the absolute minimum, this is not the lowest point on the graph. However, it certainly is below the high point at x equals negative 2. So we can say that there is a local minimum at x equals negative 1. Last, we have the high point at x equals negative 2. Remember that we talked about the part of the graph that seems to rise at an increasing rate past the bounds of the graph. Because of this, there will not be an absolute maximum for this graph. This high point that is circled has an x value of negative 2 as stated earlier, and an approximate y value of negative 2.75. Since this cannot be an absolute maximum, we say that this graph has a local maximum at x equals negative 2. To wrap up, we have an absolute minimum at x equals negative 4, a local minimum at x equals negative 1, and a local maximum at x equals negative 2.